Welcome everyone to the International at Columbia webinar. Today we want to welcome you, class of 2027, to one of your first encounter with the other international community here at Columbia. So thank you so much everyone for joining us today. This is going to be like a pretty chill and informative webinar. So if you have questions, remember that we have a Q&A at the very end of the webinar. And also you should have a Q&A bots in Zoom where you could just leave your answers, and we have an amazing group of staff here who is more than willing to help you out in that process and redirect you to any other offices that might have more complete answers to your questions. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining us today. And let's just start by introducing ourselves so you can know a little bit about our role here at this webinar. So Janet, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janet. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Associate Director of Multicultural Affairs and International Student Outreach. And I'm also on the team that works on ISOP.
Well, hello everyone again. My name is Montserrat Ayala Cabral. I go by Monse, and I'm Dominican. So if there's any fellow Dominicans out there, please let me know. And I'm this year's International Student Orientation Program, and I'm a rising sophomore, just 1 year older than you guys. And I'm majoring in economics and political science.
Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm the Identity-Based Programming Coordinator for this year's NSOP. So you'll see me running around NSOP with Monse and Janet. I'm also a sophomore at Columbia College, and I study ethnicity and race and public health, but I'm pre-med.
Yeah. Now I'd like to let our beautiful OLs to introduce themselves, please.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Laura. I am an upcoming sophomore as well, and I'm planning on studying math.
Thank you, Laura.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marie. I'm Palestinian, but I grew up in Dubai. I'm also a rising sophomore, and I'm studying applied math and pre-med.
Great. Well, thank you so much for everyone for introducing themselves. Now we can jump to our first engagement activity. This is a pretty short and fun activity. Just you guys could scan this QR code or just go to menti.com and put up this code. You're gonna see like a little map that's gonna pop up. So just like pin in the country you're tuning from, or it could be where are you from or what's your nationality. Just like every location, any location that could represent yourself better. So I'm gonna go now and share my different screen where you're gonna be able to see where everyone's tuning from today. So we have folks from America, yes, and from the Americas and people from Europe here. So a little presence in Asia and Africa. I'd like to remind you guys, the international community at Columbia is super big. We are proud to say that throughout the other IVs, we have one of the largest communities. And regardless of where you're from or what's your culture, you're probably gonna find someone who can rely on you and just someone who also identifies from the same culture or background with you throughout your 4 years at Columbia. I cannot tell how many other like Latinos I've met here and people from Asia, from all around the world. And I've gotten to also get to know cultures, which I had, for instance, no idea about. And I feel there's no better place where you could grow than with people who bring into the same table, like different positions and different, let's say, point of views from maybe the very same topic. So that's one of the parts that I've enjoyed the most about being here, is how diverse and how also united it's international community at Columbia. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone who has pinned in to where they're tuning in from or where are they from. So now we can go ahead and get into the informative part of this webinar. So for this, I'd like Laura to help us out, I'll talk a little bit more about tips that are from OLs. This is that recapitulation that we got from our beautiful OL that you're gonna guys get to meet throughout your first week at Columbia, which is called NSUP. So yeah, Laura, please do us the honor.
Yes, hello again, everyone. So I mean, all of us were in your shoes just a year ago, and it can seem a little bit overwhelming, but I'll give you guys some tips and hopefully it'll help ease a little bit of stress. So first of all, logistically, if you, for whatever reason, are unable to make it home during your holidays, like Thanksgiving break, like long breaks, for example, the end, like the winter break, Columbia does provide meals and lodging to students. Another thing to check is to make sure your phone is compatible with US networks. I personally, like my first week there, I went to like a store and got a US SIM card, which I'd recommend, but your OL can also help you with that during your first week. And then also I grew up in the Middle East. I did not have any winter clothes, but that will be really important come like December, January, February. And also bank information is another one of those things that if you need advice, speak to your OL, speak to some other people when you get here that can help you. In terms of immigration, you will likely need at least an F1 visa. And there are some internship limitations that go along with that you need to be aware of. If you do have any questions, I'd recommend like reaching out to the International Student Office just because they can help you with all of that. But you do also need a job to get a social security number, which if you're an international student will be on campus your first year. Cool. In terms of social, I mean, Monse already mentioned it, but there's a really, really strong international community on campus, especially during your NSOP week. There will be a lot of like international only events to help you like get to know the other international students. I personally found that really helpful to attend. There are obviously also your suite mates or your roommates, depending on sort of what housing situation you're in, and just joining clubs at the activities fair is also a really great way to get to know people. In terms of the cultural side, there is also, depending on where you're from, there will be varying levels of culture shock. Just to be aware of that, don't let it freak you out too much. But you'll quickly learn to acknowledge and appreciate how the US is different to where you're from, and sort of that's kind of the beauty of it. Columbia is quite a rigorous academic environment, and you should be prepared for that. Don't let it stress you out too much. I've personally found that all my friends have been incredibly helpful, and there's like a really collaborative environment at Columbia. I'm sure you'll all agree. So don't stress too much about it, but just be aware of it. And then also make sure to like sign up for work opportunities and internship emails, and reach out like proactively to people to get those. But again, it's okay to feel intimidated and scared at first. We're all sort of, we were all, some still are, like dealing with imposter syndrome, dealing with learning how to get around New York, get around campus. So please, if you ever need help, like I cannot reiterate this enough, reach out to people. There's an office at Columbia to help you with pretty much anything you need. And people in general will be really helpful. So yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much, Laura, for just giving us all this like wonderful recommendations that we for sure needed once we got into Columbia last year. So yes, now we can jump, and we wanted to do something fun, and just this is a great way to get to know Columbia as an institution. So now I'm going to share a different screen where we're going to be using Kahoot. So this is where you would probably need to use like an extra device. Once you get into Kahoot, it's going to ask you to type in a pseudo. You can just use your name or just like a name you like to be called with. And then we're going to pretty much enjoy the game and see who's ruling the board. Just give me 1 second, and I'm going to share that different screen right now. And remember that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can write them down in the Q&A and also save it to the end, and that way we can answer to them live. And the first question says, what was Columbia University first known as? I can let you know that it was not always called Columbia University for sure. There should definitely be a different name there. Missing one answer here. It was indeed King's College. I'm really surprised you guys know this. I had no idea until I had to do this Kahoot, for instance. So yeah, you always get to know and learn new things. We have Arthur leading the board. Let's see how this evolves. The next question says, who is the current president of Columbia University? We have a new president, for those who didn't know. Yeah. Oh wow, yes, it was Minoki Shafiq. Yesterday we did like another version of this. The answers were totally different. I always love whenever people think it's Gulati. He's a great economics professor here at Columbia. So if you are majoring in economics, I would strongly suggest like taking principles with him. But yeah, our president's definitely Mrs. Shafiq. And Arthur is still leading the war. 7 is coming up. The third question says, what field of experimental research conducted at Columbia gave it international renown in the 1940s? Experiments in which field? Yes, and it was indeed physics. And for this, like, people who are planning to major in physics is a really good and large faculty for it. I have plenty of friends who are majoring in it, and yeah. Arthur is still leading the war, and we have Daniel coming up too. Following question says, which of these scientists are known to have given lectures here at Columbia? Believe it or not, we have a couple of them. Options: Albert Einstein, Max Planck, Marie Curie, or Niels Bohr. It was actually, we had two, Albert Einstein and Max Planck, who did give lectures at some point of their lives here at Columbia. It's usually like a really fun fact to know about the school too. And we have Daniel now in the first place. Oh, wow. Okay, next question says, the FM radio wasn't actually invented at Columbia. In which of these halls was it invented at? The Philosophy Hall, Pupin Hall, Heavenmeyer, and Mott. For people who are in Cs, you'll probably be going to Pupin Hall pretty often. And it was actually Philosophy Hall. For anyone who is during their first year living maybe in John Jay, Wallach, or Hartley, or who's well, all the CC students are going to be taking Ledham too. Probably you're going to be going to Philosophy Hall every single week. So yeah. And Daniel is back in the first place. So the first class of graduate students from Columbia was made of how many students? We have 10, 500s, 5 or 1,000 students. We're waiting for a couple of answers. And it was actually made of 5 students only. So it's now that it's getting to be a kind of a large school, but at the very beginning it was pretty niche and only a few people could study here at Columbia. So now we have Arthur back. Oh. And the next question says, which president of the United States also served as president of Columbia? And we for sure have the first option, Barack Obama, Dwight Eisenhower, Woodrow Wilson, or Theodore Roosevelt. And it was actually Dwight Eisenhower. Barack Obama did attend Columbia, but from what I know, has never served as president of the school. Yeah, we still have Arthur in the same place. And the next question says, which of the following celebrities or personalities attended Columbia University? Oh, I might have given the answer to this one just now. There are 2 answers though, so choose wisely. And one of them, as I just mentioned, was definitely Barack Obama. And the other one was the singer and songwriter, Alicia Keys. Yes, still lit in the war. Next question says, how many individuals affiliated with Columbia's alumni or faculty have won Nobel Prizes? So like a quick story time. I've met a couple of Nobel Prizes professor here, and it's a pretty casual thing to do at Columbia, which is pretty shocking still to me. And the number is 99. And maybe one of you guys who are watching right now could be the 100th Nobel Prize, which would be really awesome and crazy. And we still have Arthur later in the war. The next question says, what creature is said to be hidden in the rose of alma mater? It's a really popular thing to do among first years, to just try to find this animal. And I don't know if any of you OLs know what it means, like finding the owl, like the story behind it. Yeah, can you share it with us, Marie?
So basically the story is that if you're the first year to find the owl in between like alma mater's robes, then it's said that you will be the valedictorian of your class.
Yeah, basically the first person, thank you so much, Marie, the first person in your class to find the owl, it's going to be valedictorian. I've had to admit that many people have found it already, and I haven't heard that many speeches during the graduation. So yeah, first place still Arthur. And our last question is, which one of the following movies were shot at Columbia? We have Ghostbusters, Kinsey, Spider-Man, or Mona Lisa Smile. But a lot of Columbia students use this as a flex too. Yes, especially when talking about Spider-Man. And it was filmed at Heaven Mayer, but actually all of the movies that I just mentioned were filmed here at some part of, like, on campus somewhere. And yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining us in this Kahoot. Let's see how's the chart. So in third place, we have JC. Second place, we have Daniel. And on the first place, leading the board, we have Arthur. Well, congratulations to all the winners and everyone who participated, and also the runner-ups. Now we can go back to the presentation. Hopefully you guys got to learn a little about Columbia if you guys didn't know this data. So yes. So we had also done the trivia here in case it didn't work. It did work, so gladly we got to use it. So the next part of the webinar, it's actually, we're going to be doing breakout rooms. So now Janet is going to be splitting you guys into random breakout rooms, and then you will have the chance to talk directly to your different OLs and ask them questions that you might have about the first week on campus, moving, or just any other worries and concerns that you might have right now. So yes, Janet, please. Okay, hopefully that breakout rooms were pretty useful to all of you guys. If you didn't get to have all your questions answered, we still have a Q&A at the very end. So stay with us. And now we're gonna ask Jonathan to help us out with the resources.
All right, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of our resources that are located within Learner Hall. So Multicultural Affairs, which is the office that I work for, is located within undergraduate student life. And my unit, which is International at Columbia, is part of Multicultural Affairs. So there's also the International Students and Scholars Office. And sometimes folks get confused or will ask, like, what's the difference between International at Columbia and International Students and Scholars Office? I think generally the easiest way to separate the two, we are very closely linked offices and we collaborate a lot. But if you have questions or concerns about your F1 visa, your ability to work on campus or elsewhere, pretty much anything that has to deal with signing of forms or like legal documents, that's going to be the International Student and Scholars Office. International at Columbia is going to be more focused on international student life and student support on campus. So we do a variety of programs throughout the academic year that will help to increase like student knowledge of like different topics on campus, help with transition. It's also a great way to connect with all of the different international students on campus and build community. So those are kind of the two differences. Kind of one of the programs that we also oversee is the Global Ambassador Program. So that is a mentorship and kind of peer discourse program. And it's open to both international and domestic students. And one of the goals is to help build relationships between international students and domestic students and be able to have kind of deeper conversations about culture, about communication, about identity while on campus. All of you as first-year students are eligible to participate as a participant in the program. So I really highly encourage you to apply for the program once the applications become available. And then one of the other programs that's run through our office is the International Student Advisory Board, of which Monse is one of our members. It's all made up of international students who are part of CCNCs. So Columbia College, Columbia Engineering, and they serve as advocates for the international community and really work on a variety of different projects throughout the year. And then one of the other offices in Learner is the Center for Student Advising. So you may not have or have met your advisor yet, but a lot of them are going to be in the office here, which I think is on the 4th floor of Learner. And highly recommend that you go and visit them, check them out. They can help answer a lot of questions that you might have about your course of study here at Columbia.
Hi, everyone. So these are resources more available all over the Columbia campus. So just to start, we have the Writing Center. The Writing Center is a great resource, especially for first years taking university writing. You'll see as you're starting to write your papers, everyone kind of goes in with a different level of experience in writing, and the Writing Center can just kind of be like a helpful resource if you want like extra eyes on like a paper, if you want someone to kind of walk you through what the process looks like, or like more than they do in class. It's even more helpful. It's even helpful after you're writing, for example, like if you're writing maybe a paper for another class, or if you're writing like an article, just like personally, it can just be great to have that resource if you want to improve your writing. The Center for Career Education, CCE, is great for finding jobs on campus. If you want to find internships, if you want resume help, how to write like a cover letter, anything like that could be done at the CCE. They also have like a closet where if you need professional clothing, they can help you kind of get access to that. So basically, it's just like a great resource for finding employment in and out of campus. The financial aid office, self-explanatory. If you need any help with like your financial aid award, they're definitely the ones to go to. They also support students kind of all year long. So if you meet the requirements, you get help with like winter clothing or just other things like that. They're always there to help. Then Live Well, Learn Well is just about general wellness and well-being. So just like, you know, being well. And then Students and Family Support is a great resource kind of to involve your parents into Columbia. So they'll be constantly sending you newsletters to your family, just like updating them on everything that's going on. CPS is an amazing resource. Columbia definitely does get overwhelming at times and it can get stressful. But CPS is always there kind of to help you work through those feelings and help you work through anything else that might be going on. And you can always book an appointment with them, and you can get psychological services throughout the year. And even once you've left Columbia for maybe like the summer or the winter, they're always there to help.
Great, thank you so much, both Janet and Jonathan. For you guys, it might be a little bit overwhelming just hearing these different offices' names, but you don't need to have this information right now. So you don't need to take a screenshot of it. We're gonna be sending you like near August, like a handout of all the information that you should know before coming to Colombia that could be really useful for you to just kind of understand what it basically means. So do not panic, do not freak out. This is not like a life or death situation. You don't need to have this right now. You just wanted to provide it to you so you can have a clear sense that at Columbia, you have a really powerful like team of different resources that you could utilize at any point of your 4 years on campus. So yes, and with this, since again, it might be a little bit overwhelming, I'd like to get to a little fun part, which is I know many of you may be wondering what are you going to do during your first week on campus, and this is exactly what we're working on for this past month. So here I have for you like a really short and sweet calendar of how your week might look like during your first week on campus again. So all of you guys, if you didn't know, are moving in on August 26th. It's like a really long day, so I strongly encourage you to bring comfortable clothing, wear your sneakers, be as comfortable as you can. And especially if you're coming with your family, go ahead too. And for that, we have an international students and family dinner where all of you guys are invited and your families too. If you didn't come with your family or you're not going with your family to the moving, you're still more than welcome to join us at the dinner. And during the same time, every residence hall that if you do not know yet, you probably should get to know where you're going to live during your first year on campus. They're going to be hosting during the same night, like different various activities so you guys can get to meet people from your residence hall and just another opportunity for you to get to meet new people in the international community at Columbia. The following day, we start pretty early with international Mits and Mingle. Now it's like officially you're gonna go and get to meet your entire class, especially the international side of it. And during the first, that's Sunday, we are gonna have the shopping excursion that Laura mentioned really briefly when she talked about that you're gonna have the opportunity to go with your OLs and get, for example, your phone SIM card to open a bank account. Those are resources that we're gonna encourage you and lead you through the best way on how to get them here with the US, because we know that the system here might look very different to where you're coming from. It's, for instance, hugely different from how it is in the DR. So it's really good having this guidance during your first day on campus. So yes, we're going to do that on Sunday. If you don't have anything to purchase, I'll say that it's always a good opportunity to just like get to still meet even new people. By this time, you're going to be tired of introducing yourself like 10 times or 20 times a day. And you kind of have like a pretty structured introduction. My name is Diz and I come from this part. But yeah, it's really useful just like getting to know as many people as possible because international community again here is like pretty united and close. So on Monday, we have the formal welcome, the international students welcome, where you're going to be meeting of the different deans and other people of the offices. And it's like a formal event for you to also understand what does it mean being an international student at Columbia. And starting from that day, everything that you see like in a pale or just like whitish color are immersion experiences. If you do not know yet, you should get to know by the beginning of next week in which immersion group you're part of. All of them are extremely, extremely fun and creative. We have a wonderful team working on that too. And yeah, just I'll say the best opportunity to get outside of your comfort zone and just like get to know the US through a different lens. And on Wednesday and Thursday, we have under one roof sessions. There are mandatory sessions for all the incoming class. And this is held by the different offices at Columbia. And by attending this session is going to be able to learn how to react to different situations and what are the protocols that the school has for certain other situations too. And that very same Thursday, 31st, we have our roundtable. So if you have questions about the visa status, if you have questions about life at Columbia as an international student in general, that's going to be also a really, really good way to find out by attending the roundtable. So we encourage suggest all of you to go to that session. On Friday 1st, we have a virtual ISSO session. So it's even more about things that you might need in your professional academical life. So it's a really, really good session. It's pretty early in the morning and it's online, as it says, a virtual session. And on Saturday, we have the International at Columbia 101, and we have the International Student Mixer. So it's even another opportunity for you to get to meet people which by that time of the week you haven't met. And on Sunday 3rd, we have our tradition, which I love, is the Brooklyn Bridge excursion. Last year I didn't get to go because I thought it was unnecessary, but I regret it. So that's why I suggest every single one of you to join us. You're gonna be able to go to Brooklyn, which if you haven't been to New York City, it's like a really, really nice spot. And you're gonna also be able to just see either the sunrise or the sunset and walk along your class. And it's gonna be like a pretty long and fun day. And if you have any plans after the event, we're gonna give you like nice places where you could go to and hang out with your friends. So I would strongly suggest or recommend all of you to join us at the excursion. I'm definitely going this year. I need to keep those memories alive for sure. So yes, this is how your week is gonna be looking like once you get on campus. So one of our very last activities is we would like to hear how you're feeling right now, because we know that it might be a little bit overwhelming, but we definitely have folks who might feel like a little bit excited. You might have questions, which is normal. You're gonna definitely have questions, I don't know, even during your first semester, because it's a transition. And our goal is to help you transition as smoothly as possible. And just to let you know that for any worries and need that you might have, you definitely have a really, really big team of people and other resources that are more than willing to assist you. So now I'm gonna be sharing my Menti screen. Once you can either scan the QR code, or just go to menti.com and type in the code, which is 95402558. And what you're gonna see is basically an empty box where you're gonna type one word, which could just symbolize how you're feeling right now. So let me go and share the screen so we can all see the really cute word cloud that we're making together. Okay. You should be able to see it just now. So we have excited, British. Okay. Okay. This might be, what does that mean? Good, overwhelmed. Yes, it might get a little bit overwhelmed. Overwhelmed, but excited, anxious, delighted, good. During this webinar last year, I was definitely anxious and overwhelmed, and but excited at the same time. Yeah, it's like a mix of emotions. Hype, yeah. Like the first week on campus is pretty hectic and active. So I would recommend again to dress as comfortably as possible. You're gonna be moving around a lot. You're gonna be packing and unpacking stuff. You're gonna be just getting to meet so many wonderful people and the different spots on campus. So yes, thank you so much everyone who left your responses in here. So now we can officially go to the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, feel more than free to unmute yourself or raise your hand, and we're gonna give you the opportunity to speak. And remember that this is the best opportunity for you to ask all the questions that you might have. You can still for sure reach out to us via email or different resources that we're gonna let you know. But again, this is the best time since it's live, and you might ask a question that many other students also have or haven't even thought about. So with this, I'm gonna give the first opportunity to Lily. Please go ahead.
Hi, thanks. By the way, I'm not the person who put that they felt British. I don't know, that's an emotion. It's a very weird emotion, but okay. I wanted to ask, with people who are cooking, and we have like religious dietary requirements, if we want to purchase things like halal meat or kosher meat in the area, can you direct us to places during the orientation? Will there be someone who knows about that?
Yeah, for sure. I can answer to that question. Is any one of you else to have an answer to this? Please go ahead. Yes, definitely during orientation, you're gonna realize that there's a community for everyone. So you're probably gonna find people who have the same needs or just need to get those same resources or things. But if it is like about kosher food itself, there's a lot of kosher shops here, and even on campus, they have a dining hall and Barner, which you can also have access to. They offer kosher food every single day. So yes, you're definitely gonna find places where you can buy your stuff even near campus. And if it is a little bit further down too, just like in New York City, it's a quick reminder for everyone, you're gonna probably find food from every single part of the world and just resources you may need from every single part of the world. And I feel that's what makes us like a really interesting city. So yes, if any OL would like to add something else, please go ahead. If not, pretty much as you definitely can find it here. And even on campus, you have access to that type of dietaries too.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, you can go ahead, baby. I see a hand. You can just,
Yeah, hi.
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Please, I want to ask about like how do you guys they manage all dormitories? Like, do you have any dormitory captain who like gives orders, gives curfews, like reading times, those kind of things, like cleaning this?
I can answer that. I mean, every dormitory or every residence hall has like, well, every floor of every residence hall has an RA, like a residence advisor that sort of keeps track of everything. There's not like a curfew except for actually during exam, like the exam preparation week, there's like a silent time to help people study. But apart from that, there's like every residence hall or every few residence halls, depending on how big they are, also has like a residence hall director that you can reach out to with more like serious complaints, I guess. And they often have like open door hours, like office hours. So if you do have anything you want to ask or anything you want to clear up, you can talk to them. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
Thank you. Yeah, Greta. Greta can go ahead and then
Hi. So I got a dining plan and I was wondering whether it's too late to change the dining plan option that I picked.
And they usually give you like a span of time where you could change your dining plan. And if I'm not wrong, however, Jana, if you can just confirm this to us, it should be until your first week on campus. So I wouldn't worry much about it too. And for every semester, you have the opportunity to change it too. So if you don't get to change it this semester, you can definitely be able to share it for your spring semester on campus.
Okay, thank you.
Just to add, I was in a similar boat last year. And I don't actually remember, like there's a specific cutoff date where you can't change it anymore in the portal. I just emailed like Columbia Dining and they were really, really helpful about it. So if it's like for a good reason or whatever, you've changed your mind, and you can't change it in the portal, I just email them and see what they say. They're really helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Just put a link in the chat that has the FAQs for the dining. And there is I think 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of each semester, which is they call like the dining plan change period, where you can request to change your plan. There is a fee. It looks like it's like $25 to change your plan. So just be aware. But yeah, I think if you want to go to the dining.columbia.edu website, they'll explain all of the different policies and then also the different types of plans.
Yeah, we hope that answered your question. And now the next person can go ahead and open your mic.
Hello, thank you all for organizing this. I just have a question about intramural club sports. Can I get like an idea of maybe how competitive it is, or when we should register or sign up?
Okay, I can answer that for you. During the first week on campus too, as I feel like Laura mentioned it, and we have a clubs fair. So that's when you can get to know the different clubs that are on campus. Every club has a different application process. So there might be some ones are like culture based where the only question gonna have, oh, do you identify yourself as part of this culture or not? For instance, I'm part of the Grupo Quisqueyano, which is a Dominican club. have to say a lot. That just mean like, well, I'm Dominican, so can I join? That's pretty much the entire application process. There are other different clubs like finance clubs, where they're gonna ask you to write like an essay, or they're gonna ask you to go through like rounds of interviews. So it pretty much depends on the club that you're applying for. They're usually, if you don't get into one, there's usually more than 3 other clubs that are mainly similar to each other. So just like I would recommend to try like and apply to as many clubs as possible during the clubs fair period. So that way you have more options to choose from. But yeah, it varies a lot.
I can also see Janet put a link to like club and intramural sport. Yeah, intramural sports specifically. Also, all the intramural sports and all the club sports will have like booths at the activities fair. Some of them, like in terms of competitiveness, depends on the sport how competitive they are. But most of them will have like tryouts, and then most of the intramural ones will have, the club sports will have tryouts. The intramural ones will, in like 99% of cases, not be competitive at all. So it really depends sort of what level of commitment you're interested in.
Cool, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura, too, for jumping in with that question. So now we have Emily.
Hi, I have a bit of a specific question to me, so I'm sorry if it's not very useful to other people, but I received my housing assignment just like a few days ago, and I was put in an SIC, a SIC, and I didn't apply for that. I don't really know anything about that. And when I went on the Columbia housing page, I couldn't find very much information specifically about my building. I was wondering if there was a way to find, for example, photos of rooms and about the specific amenities in my building, because yeah, I even looked on the shaft. I think they have some reviews and things, and I couldn't find any there. So I just wondered if there was anywhere that I'm missing to find some photos of that. I think it's a brownstone SIC. Yeah, do you have any information on that?
Well, if you didn't find like any picture, for instance, online, we're gonna be adding the chat like contact information. It's probably best if you email the person directly, one of the people in the office, that we're gonna be adding that to the chat. So that way you can just email them. Janet just did for us. Thank you so much. She just tried to send them like a quick email, like, hey, my name is this, and I'm an incoming freshman. I would like to know a little bit more about the amenities I have and this like housing plan. And they should answer you in a span of like a week. And if they don't, just like send them another email, just like bombard them a little bit. But it should be better to email them directly.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful.
Thank you. Yes, Yui?
Sorry, can you hear me? Awesome. Sorry, just have a quick question. I was wondering if there are any like leadership opportunities that we can find, or like any like resources and information on leadership opportunities.
I think for first year students, there's definitely a lot of different opportunities. So different offices will have like fellowship programs, or like almost like internship programs that run throughout the semester in different offices. I think speaking for specifically multicultural affairs, we have a bunch of different programs that offer leadership experience or like abilities to join. So for example, the International Student Advisory Board is a leadership opportunity that we will recruit specifically for first year representatives. So Monse was one of our first year reps last year. So that application will open probably sometime during the week of NSOP. So you're welcome to apply, but just in general, if you go to the student engagement website, there's also lots of different ways that you can get involved. I feel like sometimes Columbia students especially feel very, very motivated to get involved in all the things right away. And we always recommend that students check out Activities Day, just to get a sense of like what is available here, because I think sometimes students will come and be like, I want to do exactly what I did in high school, and then aren't even aware. We have like over 300 different student organizations and clubs out there. So I always recommend students to also check out Activities Day to get a sense of like what are opportunities that are available. And I think those are great ways to get involved and get engaged with the community here as well.
So thank you so much. And I was just wondering, what was the name of the website you mentioned?
Yes, I'm going to drop it in the chat shortly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So now we can go safe.
Yeah, thank you.
If you have any questions.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
can you hear me? Yeah, my question was about like in regards to picking our classes for our first year. I saw something where it said that we're gonna speak to a student advisor, but I'm not sure when that happens or how it goes.
But I remember, so your advisor will send you an email, and then you'll basically sign up for like a date. You'll specify a date and a time, and then you'll join a Zoom link. It's just going to be very nice. It's very quick. So your advisor will essentially tell you, like, try to go over with you like what you want to study, what your plan is, if you want to major, if you want to have if you want a double major, if you want to add a minor or a concentration, if you want to study abroad, what classes you have to take as in your core requirements. And you can ask him like or her like all the questions that you have. I know I asked my advisor 200 questions before coming. I was so frightened, but you're in good hands, so don't worry.
All right, thank you.
Ines?
Hi, I was just wondering, in our dorms, I read that Columbia could provide us with like mini fridge and other stuff like this. And I was wondering, how could I apply to get a mini fridge, or if I should wait to be on campus to ask Columbia?
You have to buy those in advance, but like, so basically they'll pre-install it if you order it before a certain deadline, which I'm not exactly sure when it is, but it should be in one of the emails they sent you about move-in, like where you can purchase it online. But the thing, it's really nice because they'll like install it and everything in your room for you for when you get there. So I'm pretty sure maybe Janet has the link, but I'm pretty sure it was in one of the like, at least last year, it was in one of the like get ready for move-in emails.
Yeah, and if you're talking about, there are other options for you too once you get on campus. Is basically they do like a green fair where students who are maybe graduating who do not need a fridge or a TV anymore, they're gonna be either selling at a really affordable price or just even giving away certain things. So for that, I will recommend you to wait until you get on campus. That's an information that should be available to you during the very first 2-3 weeks once you get here. So yes, that's also like a really good option if you wanna, as Laura mentioned, make a purchase before coming to Columbia. They can install it for you too, but if not, you can just wait until you are on campus, and you're probably gonna be seeing the green fair signs everywhere. You can just go and hope for the best.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think also like you should be able to access the form to request a mini fridge or micro fridge. It's like a microwave refrigerator combo through the Columbia Housing portal. So once you have your login, you should be able to log in that way. But I know that they'll also send out probably multiple emails to you with just information just about housing over the summer, with most likely with direct links to request a fridge or micro fridge.
Thank you very much.
Yes, next
Hi.
person. Hello.
Yeah, I'm Ilham. Yeah, I have a question regarding how to choose the course. Based on last year's list of course in last year's in fall session, I saw that sometimes when we choose one courses, the classes was already full capacity. On the other hand, for some other course, there is no student to choose that course. My question is, is it possible in case I'm really interested to choose one course but that's already a full capacity, is it still possible for me to choose that course? On the other hand, in case there is no student and choose one course, is it possible for me to choose the class that no student apply for that course? Thank you.
Hey, that's a great question, Ikram, and I feel like it's really useful to everyone to know about this. I'm gonna answer it as complete as possible. So your first question was regarding full classes and how probably most of you have seen, and most of the classes that you really want to take during your first year on campus are full. First of all, that's really normal. That's usually how it works because the upperclassmen, so us and people who are juniors and seniors, they get the chance to join the classes before you guys do. But I wouldn't worry because there's a waiting list. So I would just recommend you to join the waiting list. And usually during the first 2 weeks after classes start, you're probably gonna get into the class. For that, I will say go to every single class and make yourself known and seen by the professor. But you should be fine most of the time because that's usually how it works. We also have a dropout like period. A lot of students who maybe joined the class before you did are going to just drop out and just take a different class. So I would say, for instance, last year I was waitlisted to every single class that I really wanted to take, and at the end I took all of them. So yes, just wait in the waiting list and be mindful also that many other students are going through the same position and the same reality, and just get yourself known and seen by the professor. So that way they know you're an active student. The second question was, if I understood it correctly, please go ahead and correct me if I'm going the wrong way. But you're talking about classes that no student joins, I mean like empty classes, or you're talking about classes where it says that it's professor selected, meaning that the professors are the
Empty
ones
student.
and no
So
students at all?
yeah, no student apply for that class. The only student is me. Is it possible?
I mean, if it says that the class is still open with one student, then yes, you probably have like a private tutoring. I haven't seen that as scenario. You're gonna probably find one other peer who's interested in taking the class with you, because remember, you have like 2 weeks after classes start to just move around and see which class you also actually want to take. So probably somebody else gonna join you. But if you're lucky enough to have a private tutoring at Columbia, then be happy for yourself, and I'm happy for you too. But I'll say that's highly unlikely. Someone probably has the same interest.
Thank you.
Just to follow up, I'm in a math class with only 2 people right now, like for next semester. And people also tend to, like, once you were saying, like, come and go, like they'll drop another class and sign up to that class. So I wouldn't worry too much about the class being like canceled or something. Like, don't quote me on that, but like I wouldn't stress it too much. If you want to sign up for a class that seems to be empty, still sign up if it's still open.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ilham, for your question. Now I see Lily's hand.
Thanks. I just wanted to ask, in case we buy like a new laptop or electronic device, does Columbia offer a Microsoft 365 subscription for students? Does that come with is there like an IT package or something that we can sign up to? Or do we need to buy it ourselves?
I just got it this summer from like Columbia. Like you literally like Google Columbia Office 365, and you can like download. They have like the whole installation package. You do need a uni, which I'm not sure if the like the class of 27 have yet. But either way, you do get it, or at least that's been my experience.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Any other?
The link for all of the software that is available to Columbia students with an active uni. So you should be able to log on and you'll see all of the different software that is available to you. I think one of them is the Microsoft Office 365. I don't know if there's certain ones that aren't, so you won't have access to OneNote or OneDrive with your I think the licensing that they have, but you will get like PowerPoint and like Word and stuff like that. And there's a couple other different software programs that are available to Columbia students for free as well.
Thank you so much.
I will also say that Columbia is very Google heavy. So I think a lot of students will use like Google Doc or Sheets and stuff like that. Maybe just for like final formatting, they'll use like Word, but we're very Google heavy campus.
Yeah, for sure. And for that, I've witnessed how people who has never used like Google Calendar, that's now our every single day, like daily basics life. So you're gonna definitely get to know about Microsoft, even like apps you didn't even know were like part of the plan they offer. So yes, it's pretty Google heavy. I agree with that, Janet. Then we have Savine.
Hi. So today I received an email from my advisor, in the Center for Advising, and she asked us to schedule appointments with her, but like the software or like the website that it takes you to, for me, it isn't working. And I don't know, I think it's like the university-wide appointment scheduling system. And there was sort of a message that came up that said you had to use Firefox. Is that like your experience? Do you have to download Firefox to book appointments? And if I tried doing that, but it didn't work. So do you guys have any tips for, I don't know, is there like a secret to booking the appointments or?
I personally didn't have to download like Fireflies or any other app, but what did happen to me is that it didn't let me in either. So I just emailed both the offices in charge, and I made sure to include the technological one. Janet, if you call me out and add those links so people can find it, like the different offices. So again, Columbia's, as Janet mentioned, pretty Google heavy. So just email them and this should help you out and spend a week or a little bit more. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I see Paridosa and then Ibebe.
Hi. So my question was about the courses, the classes. So I was looking up to the Spanish course, and on Virgil it says that it has some fees, like $15 for language resources. So isn't that included in the tuition, or how does it work?
You're talking about like a language class at Columbia?
Yeah.
Oh, so I would, instead of like making the purchase, I would wait and go to the first class and just ask the professor directly, because usually you don't have to pay for anything extra. So I wouldn't rush myself. I will wait and attend the first class and ask them directly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Vivi.
Oh, sorry. Back to the advising portal. You might need to install Duo, which is our multi-factor something, I forget what it's called, in order to access the portal, because it looks like it will verify your uni. So if you haven't done that, that might also be why it's not letting you enter the portal to schedule an appointment. And you can download Duo. I think it's just DUO in the App Store, either App Store.
Yeah, thank you. I did do that, but I think I'm just going to send an email, but thank you anyway.
Now you have your space, Vivi.
Yeah, thank you. Like with regards to assignments, right? If people have resources to enable us complete the assignments in the finest way possible, right? Like meeting teachers, who have libraries, you can read books, do research. Yeah, now I want to ask about like, do we encourage us first years to use AI? Honestly, I'm from a very poor country in Africa, so we don't really use AI for assignments. I want to really know your point of view concerning using AI years to complete like assignments.
I think the overall consensus is that AI is not something that is currently used by students. At least it's not encouraged by faculty. There are a lot of resources on campus that are open to students who need help with assignments or writing. So there's the Writing Center. There's also like teaching and learning where you can get additional assistance or like tutoring or like small group work. I think those are, or you can attend like faculty office hours to get more direct kind of help with projects. But I think outside of probably like a computer science program, you probably won't be working much with AI. And I will say we can probably take maybe 1 or 2 more questions and then we will close out this session.
Okay, thank you very much.
And remember that we also recorded another session, so we're going to be sending you guys the link to it in case you want to go back and see if you have any more questions, so you can go back and watch it. So we have Serene.
Yeah, hi. I think this may be also more of a specific question, but I was just trying to figure out how opting out of the foreign language requirement might work. I've heard there's some way to maybe based on your AP scores, but I did the IB system and I just wanted to figure out if there's any exemption based on like IB scores or any other testing.
I'll take this one because I went through the exact process. Well, you might have as well, Monsi, but either way, if you have standardized test scores and it's something that they teach at Columbia, you can like literally Google like testing out of the language requirement and there's like a drop down list and you pick the language. If it's not something like, for example, I tested out with Danish, which is not something that's taught at Columbia, I had like a separate test done. But either way, if it's like a language you speak, there is a way to make it happen. If it's not one of those in the drop down menu, then I just email like the language office and they set up a test for you. But if it's something that like the IB teaches, then Columbia will probably also teach it. So my guess would be it's probably something that has like a requirement, like a school requirement or a school cutoff to like pass the language requirement.
Okay, thank you. And is there any link to that website or drop?
Yeah, I can see if I can find it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay,
add it for
thank
you
you
and
so
drop
much.
it in the chat in a couple of seconds.
Thank you.
So do we have a last question today? Yeah, thank you so much, Janet, for dropping the link. And yeah, personally, I took a placement test and with that, I just dropped out of the language requirement. And yeah, usually it goes pretty well, especially us since we're international student. And if we come from a country where English is not the official or main language, then you should be fine and just get out of the language requirement pretty easily. So if there are no other questions, thank you so much, everyone from Columbia, to joining us today at this webinar. It's been a pleasure to assist you today. And thank you so much again for the incredible OL team that we have present today, both Marie and Laura, and for sure the other NSUP coordinators here, Janet and Jonathan, for joining us and helping me out today. If you guys have any other more questions of during your span before coming to campus, any more questions arises, feel free to email us. The email that has been sending you like a bunch or spamming you this past week, you can just send them an email back and ask your questions. And Janet just added our email, which is international@columbia.edu. So yeah, feel free to also send us your questions and we will be more than happy to help you out and answering them to you. So yes, thank you so much, everyone. And with this, we formally finish and close our